Welcome to the Fearfic Podcast. Fearfic is the term for short horror fiction mostly posted on the web. It includes any and all related subgenres. Join three fine fellas talking basement soup Slimebeast, incinerated interstellar traveler Abysmii, and friendly ghost root rat dead palate as they read all stories horror and internet related, paragraph by paragraph, and guffaw while they do it. From forgotten TV shows to heavily plagiarized blog posts and all the static in between. They read it and critique. Kick it to the oobies, boobies.
So, have you guys ever taken out your ooby booby? What?
Only in public.
Because it sure seems like ooby booby, whatever the hell the name is, it seems like it's been taken out of 1999. There was a whole thing with hands doing stuff with like eyeballs on the hands, and it was based on a real TV show, and that seems to have been removed as part of the plagiarism that was removed, I guess.
I can't remember a more hack job cleanup than what we've read so far in this story.
Oof.
Like,
I did it all for the ooby, so you could take it a booby and put eyeballs on it.
Yeah. I could see Limp Bizkit. I could see Fred Durst as Mr. Bear, you know? I could see him like in the bear costume and you just hear from beneath the mask, "I'm about to get some kids right now. About to kidnap some kids."
Chainsaw.
Yeah. Motherfucker, get in my cellar right now. But yeah. I think that would be good casting.
You're not invited, motherfucker.
If the Sci-Fi Channel is listening, and Max Landis is not in prison by the time this airs, and you want to do Channel Zero again, even though it sucked and was canceled.
tap Fred Durst for Mr. Bear.
Yes. Don't you know I got a soup spoon? What? A motherfucking soup spoon.
That's right. So, we're going to be we're adding to the roster well-known performance artist Fred Durst.
Yeah.
He's a really good method actor.
Do you think Fred Durst has trouble getting through like the TSA because he packs a chainsaw? Fuck.
No, so I was also going to say something else. It was a salient point, and you made me lose it with the idea of a plastic chainsaw. That way you can get a chainsaw through airport security.
Yeah, I wonder why. I always thought if I ever wrote like this was way back, if I ever wrote like a spy story or something, I was thinking you could just have like a sharpened plexiglass knife, and that probably would be, easy to get in places. But anyway.
Nobody tests that out. Hey, kids, don't test that out.
You remember that what is that Pink Floyd song? Hey, kids, please don't test that out. Yeah.
That's the Loose Noose cover of Pink Floyd.
All in all, you're just a special kid who shouldn't kill himself. Loose Noose.
Oh, man. So...
What's up, gamers? Welcome back to 1999 playthrough, motherfucker.
Hey, sponsored by G Fuel. What is it? I have no idea. Buy it. Get V-Bucks with your G Fuel.
Is it like whey protein or something?
Yeah, it's like little powdery stuff, but it's like whey protein, but it's not really whey protein. It's basically just sugar.
I tell you what, it may not be whey protein, but it's way awesome. Go out and buy some now.
You get to your G Fuel, and then you put it in your Gamer Girl bathwater.
Damn it.
That's
how you get giant Gamer Girls, but good.
Yeah. I saw, I forget where, but it was a soda, or maybe an energy drink, called Gamer Fuel, with an actual tagline of, specialized to increase reaction time or some shit, which I'm sure just means like ass loads of caffeine. That's an unhealthy amount.
Right.
Maybe they're just putting Ritalin in there.
Hey.
Definitely not speed.
Dude, that's the tech. Is just name your energy drink Liquid Ritalin.
Yeah. Liquidolin?
Liquidolin?
Soliquidolin?
Oh, man.
I have an update.
Yes.
Okay.
May 8th, 2010. Last month, I finally got my G2 license in Ontario, Canada. That means you're allowed to drive a car by yourself, as well as with some passengers after 6 months.
Wait a minute. How old is this guy? Okay, but anyway.
Do we know?
He was going to college, so...
Yeah.
I'm a man-child who can't drive.
Yeah.
19, maybe 19 or 20. I don't know. Yeah, okay.
I, of course, took advantage of this and drove to Caledon for a little Sunday drive. Since I haven't updated this blog in a while, I figured I might as well visit the house where the infamous channel of my childhood was located. I just remembered the thing that I was going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was thinking about, like, the Mr. Bear idea, and I was like, man, I'm having fun doing Mr. Bear. It's fun to do this character. And, like, it's a really simple idea of just, like, a very kid-friendly character. And I think it's kind of undercut by the fact that just one time he yelled at kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was just one isolated incident of him, like, snapping and being a different person.
Mm-hmm.
And you think that ruins the premise, or when you say undercut?
I think it changes the premise, because now it's just like a bipolar character. And I don't think it's as interesting as the idea of, like, he thinks that what he's doing is the good thing. Like, the idea of, like, lighting children on fire for some sort of cult ritual only works if you in your delusional brain think that's the right thing to do. But if you're getting angry, then you might not. Then it implies malice. You know what I mean?
Right. Especially if you're saying something like, get the fuck back here, or whatever it was, where they said there was cussing.
Yeah,
we giggled because of the cussing.
This goes back to my disappointment that the first few paragraphs of the story are interesting and I would argue strong, and then the bulk of it is dedicated to this. Look at me, I'm an investigator. Here's me talking to the cops like I fucking know them or something. And it's taking away what was good about the story and replacing it with just this audience interaction back and forth thing.
It really suffers from the blogatization.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas something like Ben Drowned benefited from it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Ben Drowned, I mean, it wasn't like... Hold on 1 second. Did you say something? Alright, sorry about that. Let's leave this in the episode.
In your house?
Let me leave this in the episode, Elias. Don't cut this out. There were... Last night, at around 1 or 2 a.m., I look out my kitchen window in the dark of night and I see flashlight lights, right?
Okay.
Look, I go outside and look with a flashlight and a hammer, and nobody's there. It's like quiet, silent, nobody around. So, like, a day or so passes. Today, I'm out there, and one of my neighbors says, "Oh, by the way, some teenagers broke down your fence in the back corner, went through your yard into the neighbor's yard, and stole a bunch of his tools."
Oh, shit.
So now I'm kind of like, any, like, sound I hear or something, I'm like, okay, well, let me just make sure that's nothing. But anyway, back to Mr. Bear and the horrors of a children's show character setting people on fire, unlike the real-life horror that is teenagers on your lawn.
I was going to say the real-life horror of teenagers on fire.
Teenagers on fire. Boy, I tell you what, if I catch them...
Just walking around ablaze.
If I catch them, they might be on fire. But yeah.
Goddamn kids blazing, gotta get Jeff Sessions on this. The house looked different than when I saw it last saw it in October. In fact, there was less snow. The place was no longer used as a daycare, and it sat there abandoned. However, it did have a for sale sign showing that someone still owned it, wanting to get rid of it, though. As opposed to it was just forfeit.
Well, the bank could be trying to sell it, right? They could have foreclosed on it. Doesn't mean it's... I guess that technically counts as an owner, but yeah.
Yeah.
Someone still owned it.
Anyway.
This abandoned house is my abandoned house. This abandoned house is your abandoned house.
I don't want any more liability for it. Please sign over the deed. Abandoned house drew fuzzy memories from my mind, mainly of that day my dad took me to visit Mr. Bear. A feeling of dread came upon me. What happened to the children while they were living in that house? I walked up the steps. You know what happened to them. They burned in a fire. Okay.
That's right.
I walked up the steps to the front door and peered through the window. Inside, I could see a nearly empty hallway with a few boxes at the end.
Come in. I can make the lights go out. I can make... You remember that Jack Stauber?
Yeah, oh man, I love that. It's the best Jack Stauber.
At the end of the hallway to the right was an open doorway, presumably leading to the kitchen. Why? To the left were 2 doors, both apparently leading to the rooms visible through the windows outside. Okay. I wondered where the cellar entrance was located and whether it had been sealed up, because that's something you do. I walked around to the back of the house and found my answer. 2 wooden doors lying at an almost flat angle were padlocked shut. This had to lead to the cellar. Not wanting to hang around, you can imagine what was going through my mind at the time, I departed.
Oh, no. You cannot imagine what was going through my mind at the time. But I think we can.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, are you interested and curious of going here or not?
Well, he died. He departed. So that's the end of the story.
True. That's true.
I just read ahead and I forgot something that happens.
Uh-oh.
Behind the house, the empty field continued on until it reached out a dense forest that lined the horizon. I wondered if that was the forest where the bodies of the children were found. I thought to myself, fuck it, and proceeded to walk across the field behind the house into the forest. The forest was oddly quiet, save for the few periodic sounds of woodpeckers drilling into a distant tree. I cautiously made my way deeper into the woods, not really caring about the fact that I had no idea where I was going. I don't know how to explain it, but I felt like there was something I had to find. I came to a center part of the woods and a few small houses in the distance. Polo's house crossed my mind, and I wondered if one of these homes had belonged to him. I neared a small clearing in which I could see 3 adequately sized logs gathered around a black charred area, showing a small fire had been lit there recently.
Must have been a small kid. What do we think? The woods got thinner now. Does that mean that the trees are thinner, or does that...
Just less trees.
Less trees, but yeah, no, I pictured
it became more narrow. I had to walk sideways through the forest.
Became 2-dimensional.
I think this paragraph is actually working. It's actually grounding us in what's going on.
Well, this update is sort of like a different story now, because
it does feel
now we're going back to the beginning in the sequel to the original post.
Yeah, a lot of stuff before this just felt like I talked to the police, then I talked to this person, and I don't know, and I don't know, and I don't know. Vague answer.
I'll say this: it's throwing good money after bad money.
True.
All right, Abysmii, let's hear you be very outraged.
Hey, yeah, get the fuck out of a phone.
God damn it.
Those words nearly gave me a heart attack. I turned to my left and saw 2 dark-clothed people running towards me. My initial thought was, oh, look, cultists, was to run. However, as they came closer, I saw they were really just kids in their early teens, possibly 13 or 14, maybe even 12. Now that I knew they were 12, I automatically knew who they were. As they approached me, they realized my size as well. I'm 6'1", while they could have been no bigger than 5'8". One might have been 5'7".
Fucking manlets.
As they approached me, they realized my size as well. Why does that sound like it comes out of one of those? Yeah.
I T-posed to assert dominance and immediately fell prostrate.
I took out my ooby booby and started T-posing. You're like, man, your ooby booby is really big.
We said, get the fuck out. The larger one, who was wearing a Slipknot shirt, said half-heartedly. He likes Slipknot. This is not the part that was added in by another author later. This is from the original, real, authentic story.
Understand, it wasn't like plagiarized addendums at the end. The plagiarism was all throughout, okay?
The plagiarism was inside of us all along.
It's not like a brain tumor plagiarism, okay? It's like lymphoma. It's just like everywhere.
Right.
It's blood cancer. It's just all throughout, and they just got to do some chemotherapy. Okay.
I stood my ground and shrugged and angry. The shorter one, who was wearing a Metallica t-shirt, I think, was the joke already made that these were Beavis and Butthead at some point? Anyway, wearing a Metallica shirt, swung out a butterfly knife and held it in my direction. Toward
that
my
wouldn't
erection.
work because Butthead wore a AC/DC shirt, not Slipknot.
It was dirty that day. So.
Yeah. Dun dirt Jeep.
Get out of our fort. You suck. You're old. Mr. Bear is cool.
What are you two doing back here? Fire!
Yes! It makes sense now.
No, you wouldn't want to, I said in a deep, serious tone, trying to sound as badass as possible. I pulled out my cell phone.
Which had a hidden knife. It was a flip phone, but with a knife.
The 2 kids withdrew, the one in the Metallica shirt putting away the knife. Look, dude, we don't like people in our fort, so can you just go? The one in the Slipknot shirt said, obviously intimidated. Oh shit, that was the one in the Slipknot shirt. Oh well, whatever.
Oh well.
It's literally devolving into Jeff the Killer.
Yeah.
Oh no. I had no business in the forest anyway, so I uttered out a simple fine and turned before I realized I had a great opportunity.
I don't want to know what opportunity you have with 2 kids in the woods, so we're going to
Hey,
stop
kids.
reading.
You want some
Have.
V-Bucks?
V-Bucks.
That's what we find out here is the person who added all the plagiarism. This other person also took out a bunch of pedophilia
Oh,
parts.
God. The true vision.
Really, they were doing you a favor.
Yeah.
I got a question for both of you. Have either of you ever been bullied in your life?
Hell yeah.
It's difficult for me to say, because I was just like the odd kid that nobody really paid much attention to. Like, people would do something to mess with me, but then I would, like, kick them in the knee or something. So it was, like, kind of like, I don't know
So
if
yes.
I would have been if I didn't, retaliate.
So yes, both of
Okay.
you have been bullied.
Okay, good.
Have either of you ever had a knife pulled on you?
No.
When I was a kid, I was over at a friend's house, and 3 kids came out of the woods, and they were from the neighborhood, I guess, across the woods. And this was the 80s, so one of them had, like, the ripped sleeve t-shirt. This is like a cliched bullshit Stephen King kind of thing.
Mhm.
And one of them pulled a knife on my friend. Because they were like, we're the bullies of, not the bullies, but we're like a gang of this neighborhood, that type of bullshit little kids do. So I grabbed his hand, took the knife out of his hand, knocked him down, and stuck the knife into the ground, right?
Mhm.
But the thing was, when I did that, the tip bent because it was a rubber knife. So that was, that's reality, folks.
No.
That's reality. He had some, toy knife, and they were going around like, we're the gang, we're the bad
Scaring people. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're the
Wow.
tunnel snakes.
gang.
So that's the thing is like if you want me to believe that this is like real, it's just not believable that like kids would go around with an actual knife and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna stab you in the gut."
Well, If this
Why-
were actual gang territory and this was like a very, very impoverished area, I could believe it.
It's not.
But-
It's let's be real. It's not a kid in a Slipknot and Metallica T-shirt.
Yeah.
Did either of you hear?
Those are
Oh,
good, wholesome children.
Yes. Did either of you hear of a guy who murdered a bunch of kids in these woods about 13 years ago? I asked the kids. The 2 looked at each other in confusion before the one wearing the Metallica shirt answered.
Yeah, everyone knows about that guy. He said to me, as if I were stupid. The kid in the Slipknot shirt continued. He still lives around here in the storm drain.
Like
My
him.
big brother.
Like Pennywise.
Who's Pennywise?
Fucking damn it. Brandon,
What are we talking about?
what are you doing right now?
What are you talking about? This is original stuff.
I
What are
see.
you trying?
Okay, now I
what
get
are you
what you're
trying
doing.
to
Okay.
pull other than a fake knife on us?
I get what you're doing now. Okay. So anyway,
Didn't get
original
the gang.
idea, storm drain.
Yeah, storm drain. Yeah. Yeah, he lives in a storm drain. He's big and he's thin in a suit with no face.
Slender man in a pair outfit.
Oh,
My big brother's friend says he saw him in a bear costume once, wandering around the forest at night.
bum bum bum.
Carrying red balloons. My instincts told me this was probably a lie. No shit. Probably is.
You know what else is probably
detective.
a lie? Everything that happened otherwise, too. I mean, it doesn't sound any more outlandish.
And the owner of Caledon Local 21 is probably long gone, only existing as folklore in this smaller, isolated community. However, as a human, the thought of the mysterious unknown sparks interest within. Okay.
Oy.
That's a very overly flowery way of saying, but I was still really curious.
Yeah.
And where is the storm drain? I asked, just out of curiosity. I don't actually believe the kid's story. You're not convincing me. The kid in the Metallica t-shirt stared at me for a few moments, his eyes seemingly full of annoyance yet curiosity for me. Say the word curious one more time. You're not from around here, are you? Why did you even come here? Now, I do admit I was slightly startled by the nature of his question.
But I was
However,
curious.
I figured I might as well explain why I was there, just in case people mistook my intentions. I told the 2 kids about my experience with the man in Caledon Local 21, and that I had to come to maybe seek out some sort of... I had to come to maybe seek out some sort of closure, although even I wasn't exactly sure.
Official
That's
version,
a-
folks.
That's a lot of poor grammar and weasel words.
I want to point out, too, I don't want to... I know that this is sort of like a big shit fest, but I don't want to crap on this too much, but I do have to do due diligence and point out that this is a story that other people have helped edit and different things like that over the years, where somebody at some point should have caught a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
The kids seemed familiar with the channel as they smiled and looked at each other when I mentioned it. Awesome. They also became more understanding and gave me a detailed description of how to get to the storm drain. Follow the flow of water. Shortly after, I decided to just turn around the way I came and head back to the house, leaving the kids at their fort. But now you're probably wondering why I left out such a detail about what the kids told me just now. It is because I'm choosing to conclude what I have gathered now. Okay, Jerison. Okay, Jerison.
Did the author have a stroke every other paragraph?
Yes. But now you're probably wondering why I left out such detail about because
Who put something in my pudding pop?
God damn it. Who put pudding pops in my booba, whatever the fuck it is?
The Bill Cosbyer has become the Bill Cosby.
No.
Here's what the kids told me in detail in bullet point format for some fucking reason. The storm drain lines ahead of the kids' fort, same direction I was heading. The drain ends in a small river where excess water is drained out. Near is a small playground. The kids told me people rarely use it.
Can I ask a question really quickly first?
Yeah.
The kids' fort and the storm drain and the playground and everything around this isolated farmhouse in the middle of farmland in the middle of nowhere.
Quote unquote isolated, yeah.
So, anyway.
The man supposedly lives in the large pipe that rainwater drains out of. People have seen him, although always either wearing a bear mask or the mask and a full-body bear costume. Note, I do not believe this is true, and in fact, a simple myth made up by the residents of Caledon. The story does not seem plausible in any way. Why wouldn't it? Why would that not be plausible if you know for a fact that there is a bear fire causer?
Fire. He's reverse Smokey, yeah. I think that might have been said before, but yeah.
Oh, why did no one call the police? Why didn't this guy look suspicious? Any other questions like this leave the story invalid. Yeah, that's...
What?
Bud, you can't have this many unbelievable things in your story and then be like, but these theories are bunk. I may visit the storm drain, not because I believe the story. Dude, you've said this
Christ!
5 fucking times in 3 paragraphs.
By the way, this is in the list of what the kids told him, so the kids told him he may visit the storm drain.
Because, oh my god. But because I want an excuse to visit Caledon again, so this blog doesn't lie. No more tapes to watch. I don't know what to talk about anymore. Thanks for continuing to support my blog. I know many people are looking forward to the information about what happened in Caledon during the year 1999. I will do my best to continue my research on the topic. Elliot out. This is the first time that we're getting the name Elliot.
Other than probably where it was removed previously from plagiarism. But here's my thought about this. No more tapes to watch, so I don't know what to talk about anymore. He didn't tell us what was on all the tapes at all.
Yeah.
I mean,
he also said that there are other tapes that are at other
and he hasn't been
police
to those
stations.
other stations. So
I
felt like a setup.
I wouldn't say it was a good idea to fill this story with a ton of different tapes and a ton of different descriptions, but also you can't say, I don't know what to talk about anymore. It's like the variety of tapes that exist.
The author is admitting that they've just not gotten anything from fans, so they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Oh, it might be bait. You actually might be right. I mean, they might be baiting people. Oh,
Bear
quick
bait.
hint of what I could look at in the comments, and I'll go do that.
This is the most. It just blows my mind that people don't see through this.
Well, I mean,
this is a beloved story.
This was really, really hyped up. And that's one of the reasons I never read it, because it was just so hyped up. I thought, it's another one of these icon stories or whatever. But people fucking love this story.
It was back in the day, though,
Yeah.
before a lot of people saw through a lot of things, and I don't know.
I wish I would have read the original one, simply because this is so just hackneyed and chopped up and inconsistent, and our protagonist's
You mean Elliot?
Elliot, sorry, yeah, Elliot. And Elliot's,
how did you forget the name of this deep lore character, Elliot?
Elliot's motivations and just behaviorisms are just all over the place. Whatever.
You got to understand that our narrator is a supreme gentleman.
True.
You know what? Thinking back to those kids in the fort, I was thinking, wouldn't it be, and this is another thing where Slimebeast tells you how to fucking write, wouldn't it be much more interesting if it was like a lone kid out there by himself and like a weird kid, like you could say, he seemed a little off, probably someone that other kids never wanted to play with, and he was out here doing X, Y, and Z, and I asked him, about this thing. Instead it's like you said, that Jeff the Killer type thing. The two bullies approached me with a knife. And
or even, like, it's two young kids who just heard about the myth of Mr. Bear, and they're out looking for the same thing. Yeah. But they're like, they're not even, they've already looked at the house, and they're too scared to go in because they're too little. But they tell him, but we heard that he lives in the sewers not too far from here. Like, that would make more sense.
You could have them be like, we're the Mr. Bear fan club. We're super edgy and we like the killer guy. Ha ha ha,
Well,
we're from Tumblr.
We have rubber knives.
You say that, but then that's how I feel about Mothman. I want to...
You want to fuck Mothman?
Do you not?
I haven't seen any flattering drawings
Update.
Yet. October 7th, 2010. Wow, nearly 5 months since I fucked Mothman. I mean, last updated. I'm guessing everyone pretty much thinks I was dead, right?
It's been 5 months since I fucked Mothman. The other side of the bed's so cold.
There's a weird amount of egoism happening now. Thankfully, I'm not. But in all my seriousness, I really have been busy these past few months, and a blog about something that could have killed me as a kid is a little low on my current priority. Why? Why would that be low? As of now, I am living in Waterloo, Ontario, attending the University of Waterloo for computer engineering. Yeah, I'm a keener. That's a reference I don't know.
Keener is just Canadian slang for geek. It's like a weird term for geek.
Keener is wiener with a K.
I'm a wiener. As you can imagine, engineering is no walk in the park. So obviously, I nearly forgot about this blog. But as you can see, I am back. Humans don't talk like this.
Engineering is no walk in the park, unless you're designing a park attraction.
Unless you're a civil engineer, yeah.
I remembered to visit the storm drain. Yeah, you fucking... Oh my god. I remembered to visit the storm drain the kids from the Calden Forest told me about. This is why blog format sucks, because it's just so much recapping.
Also, the idea of, like, I go there, and they're like, hey, you might want to check out the storm drain. And then you write the thing, and then they go check out the storm drain, and then they write the thing. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you you're already there? Why didn't you check out the storm drain when you were there?
Right.
And you had the free time to go and check out the storm drain, but not to write this update? Do you see, this doesn't make any fucking sense?
Yeah.
It was out in a clearing between the wooded areas, nearby a marsh. Unfortunately, I found absolutely nothing. That's exciting, save for a turtle that retreated into its built-in home when it saw me.
What?
I snapped some pics of the pipe, which I have posted as well. Oh, so he went out and took pictures of a pipe. Also, let me tell you, it was not a storm drain like they said, because I couldn't find one, so I photographed this pipe.
I saw... The transparency of all of this is just comical. And the idea that someone might actually publish this?
Someone would go through this and make the changes they did, but not the obvious changes they should have. This is for a book deal, everybody.
By the way, I know that I joke about Channel Zero stuff and everything, but it's funny how there are some echoes of what they did with Candle Cove in this story.
Yeah.
Because they've got, the person going around dressing as the children's show person gathering kids, but it's, the skin taker instead of Mr. Bear, and, So it's almost like plagiarism of plagiarism, I don't know.
What I saw was a simple pipe, possibly to channel the excess water from the marsh. When I returned from Caledon, however, I simply kept putting off uploading everything until I forgot all about my blog. It just didn't say... I'm writing a blog, and I forgot about my blog, and sometimes I don't have time to keep up with my blog, but guess what? I'm back updating my blog, and here's what I have to update you on. It just didn't seem important anymore. Please forgive me. It wasn't until only recently that I am now interested in my case again on September 10th. What are we laughing about?
This is how this is written. This is like It's like is someone holding a gun to his head and demanding him type out his responses to him as to why he's not updating his blog? I'm sorry, please forgive me. I've been away. I've been busy. I got the photos. I haven't uploaded them yet. Like, this is not how people write.
It's stream of consciousness blog writing.
Well, you know what, Abysmii? It's the gun of fandom. It's the people constantly contacting him about when he's going to update.
Well, the weird thing is this is something that I see on No Sleep all the time. Even though I don't like this blog format for most of those stories, they will say, "Hey, I have to disappear for a bit. Updates will be sporadic," and then they just make sporadic updates and don't have to constantly justify it over and over and over again. Right. So it's weird that in this thing that was written out long form that you would do this.
That's the thing, though. It's just like, I have the enthusiasm to like start a story, but not to fucking finish it. And it's just finish your fucking story, lazy writer.
Stop
like honestly,
making excuses and just do it.
And I'm not just talking to this writer. I'm talking to every writer. Stop making excuses and just finish your fucking story. Like I have stories that are unfinished. Guess what? I haven't released them yet. I'm not going to like release like the first 2 paragraphs and be like, maybe I'll update later.
I always, back in the day, I used to have a stupid thing that I like to do where I compared writing a story or a screenplay or anything like that to making a sandwich. And it works on, different levels for explaining a lot of different things about the process. But in this case, I would say that stories like this are, I'm going to sit down and make myself a sandwich. All right, I've laid out the 2 pieces of bread. Tomorrow I'll go to the store and get the meat. No, if you're going to make the sandwich, you have to use what's there now and, do it and finish it.
No. You lay out the bread and then you sleep on what kind of meat, what cold cuts you want.
Right.
Like, it's like, you know what I was thinking? Just follow me here. What if I fry up some bacon and like let it cool off and then put that on there? Just have some cold bacon.
Right. And then you do that and then you're like, this would be really good with some sliced tomatoes. I'll go get some tomato seeds from the garden store and plant them in my yard. Well, I actually live in an apartment, so I need to pay everything off, and then I'll eventually buy a house to grow. The sandwich is going to be awesome. I'm so hungry.
I just wanted lunch.
On September 10th, I received an email from this email address. returntheb@hotmail.com.
Return the bacon.
Return the slab.
Return the slab.
Return the bee. So all this time he's been running around as Mr. Ear.
Return the bag of milk.
Fucking damn it.
Return the 2 joints of marijuana.
Return the circus fruit.
Funny, am I right? Well, it gets better. I'm going to copy and paste the exact email this guy sent me.
How to get your email?
Okay, I'm just going to do this whole thing.
How does he have email? He's a homeless guy in the woods. But go ahead.
Do you want to do this whole thing, or should I do this whole thing?
I can do it.
Okay.
I can do it.
I can do it. Listen.
Okay, Obama Bear.
I'm really good at reading letters.
Obama.
Dear Elliot, my dear boy. You see, this story may or may not be true, but it could happen. There are many slots for airtime. If you have money, you can have a public access TV channel. Some public access channels share airtime like EWTN, Religiousy channel based out of Michigan. That shows Catholic-based programming, but during off-air hours have independent shows or just blue screen.
Did you see that networks. Nun? That nun is Religiousy.
I've actually seen EWTN because Paprika's parents are Catholic.
Weird.
And it's pretty weird. Cable networks have empty channels available for rent space, so the scenario of a pedo renting a channel on basic TV is not far-fetched at all. However, public access TV is widely reviewed and can be terminated at any time. These are the rules for the United States, not for Canada, where this story took place. I mean, real thing. Mm-hmm. So if this happened in the U.S., the pedo would be tracked and arrested immediately. Yes, this story could happen, but it is unlikely. 1,000 fuzzy hugs, Mr. Bear.
So, how do we feel about... Okay, I'll ask 3 questions. 1, do we think that this is an actual letter a fan sent to him? 2, what do you think about the fact that he pasted a letter a fan sent to him into his story? 3, who wants bacon? I want bacon now that you mentioned it.
I am so removed from figuring out this mystery, really caring that much where the story goes anymore, because it has become such an exercise of stringing you along. And I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. So I really could care less who it's from, because no matter what I think, it's going to be ignored for the next 2 entries or something, and then it'll be revisited again, and they'll just be solved, you know?
Because, I mean, I've had people contact me. I mean, you guys have seen in the Too Spooky Discord, you've seen people named, like, Photo Negative Mickey and things like that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate people who are enjoying my work as much as to make it their name or whatever. I don't really know what to say. But, so I could see somebody legitimately writing this letter. My username is Mr. Bear, and he talks about not believing the story, so on and so forth, as a fan would or a reader would, and signs it Mr. Bear. So I feel like this is something somebody emailed him, and he just was like, awesome, I got something for my story now. I'll go off this.
Well, and in speaking in the context of the story, it would not be surprising to me if Mr. Bear inspired other mentally unstable people to imitate him and emulate his actions, and they catch wind of someone poking around the old house, and so they try to, they send him this letter. I could see that too.
So followers, in other words.
Sure.
Proxies, if you will. Now, obviously, this letter is fake and sounds almost corrupted. It's just written poorly.
Corrupted?
Yeah.
Corruptus.
It sounds corrupted, not that it's written by a general internet user. It's corrupted. But still, I would like to thank whoever sent it. Why? Though they could use some English lessons, rude. Just reading this letter creeped me out. Huh? Yeah.
Let he who is without grammar mistakes cast the first stone, buddy.
Yeah, I was going to say people who live in glass storm drains, I guess. Just reading this letter creeped me out. But because of it, I am now full of this new interest to continue my blog.
Oh my god.
I guess, for anybody wondering why, it's because you have to mention so many times that you have a blog. It's like, blog, continuing my blog. I'm back to my blog after leaving my blog. Now I'm back to my blog. I left my blog.
I've definitely known people, strangely enough, like this, who talk really big game about the thing they're going to do, whatever it is, whatever project they want to do. And whenever you meet up with them again, you don't have much to talk to them about, so you just bring that up, and it's always, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then the next time, man, I'm totally recommitted to it. I'm going to get the band back together, or whatever the fuck it is. And you just, you lose all confidence in them, and you don't believe it because they don't believe it themselves.
Right.
Why would you, and maybe this isn't intentional on the author's part, but why would Elliot be this waffly on whether he wants to do this blog or not? You're writing a story. Are you taking a poll every time you post a segment if you should continue or not? Why do you keep bringing this up?
I mean, it's that typical thing of, gosh, guys, I don't know. Do you want more story? Oh, you all do? Oh, it's good to hear. But, maybe I'll stop now. Oh, you don't want me to stop? Oh, that's, okay, you're all real fans. Okay. Anyway, I guess it's just...
Imagine you're watching porn, right? And it's like this hot chick, and then every once in a while it's like, oh my god, I'm such a naughty girl, and this is porn. Yeah. And I'm getting fucked in the ass, and this is porn.
I left porn for a while, but now I'm back doing porn.
I'm totally recommitted to porn, you guys.
I'm getting porned in the vagina.
Jesus Christ.
It's just don't sit. Why are you constantly saying what it is? And now I'm writing some words. Here are some more words.
I guess it's just funny, trying to pursue the mysteries I've always questioned. No, it's not.
No?
Now my roommate knows about all of this.
Oh my god.
So, I should point out that supposedly, I've spoken to somebody who said that they were the roommate of the author and that they helped with the story. Now my roommate knows about all this. Do you think maybe he was writing this? He thought the letter was real and actually seemed more scared than I was for a second. But then I shrugged it off, so he did too. I mean, what are the chances of this being real? How could Mr. Bear know all this about public access TV? and about when I went to Calden on those occasions because you wrote about it in a public blog.
Yeah.
More or less know my email or me still be interested in his seller. More or less know my email or me still be interested in his seller. Ha!
I'm going to send a reply to return the B. Wow. Just look at that email address. You can tell someone wanted to freak me out, but it didn't really work, though. Although, to whomever you are, thank you for spanking my new interest back into my full matter.
Okay.
Baby, I can find out more about what happened to Mr. Bear. Hopefully. Because although I don't want to buy that email, part of me still feels anxious. In fact, I completely believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of shitting myself. Oh shit, there's Mr. Bear. He's coming to take me away, haha. And the story ends.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to all of those who are still following me and have become avid fans. You are why I'm choosing to continue this. Thanks, guys. This is the problem with the story. It's so nothing. Nothing's happening. You know what the last thing that happened was? It was at the beginning of this fucking episode when a kid whips out a knife. That was the only thing that happened. No new information has been gained.
So I have a question. DP, you have read this before, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Like, fully?
Yes.
Okay. Return the B. Does this narrator character take a letter B from, like, a sign, or what is return the B? Because it obviously has been deleted somewhere along the line. What he's supposed to return, what the B is.
I can't say I rightly remembered, but I don't think it gets fleshed out.
Okay, so I just was wondering, because it's like... It's just running by the seat of your pants. Like, someone registered that Hotmail email, sent him that thing, and then he just went with it. It doesn't stop looking for this to pan out. It's just stream of consciousness. It says, looking at the email address, you can tell someone wanted to freak me out. So I'm wondering what return the B is as a message.
I guess B stands for bear. It's stupid.
Yeah.
That's why I was wondering if something got deleted that explains why that would be.
Return the Betamax tape.
Return the B.
Update, November 7th, 2010. I'm just going to take this whole thing because it goes into stupid-ass bullet points. Wow, I can't believe this blog hasn't been deleted yet.
Why?
What with all the plagiarism?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, unintentional satire of self, yeah.
I haven't posted anything for so long. I have my reasons, and I'd rather not discuss them just yet, but I will next paragraph. It has been a rather traumatic year for me. Some of you were right. I shouldn't have gone back trying to relive the mysteries of my childhood, but I couldn't resist.
Those people were just commenting, end the story. Don't go back. Just end
Dear
the
God,
story.
please stop. It has been over a year since my last post, and a lot has happened. Let's recap where I'm at right now with regards to the whole Mr. Bear incident. Recap. ReturnTheBeat@hotmail.com is no longer in use. I tried replying to the email, but I got no reply. I tried again a while back, still no response. I've actually moved up to Ottawa, capital of Canada, for those who don't know, for university, so I haven't been back to Caledon or back home in the Peel region for a while. I had my reasons for leaving, as you could guess why. Your dad blew up? I don't know. I've had to make a new email account because people keep prank mailing me pretending to be Mr. Bear. Thanks a lot, guys. Not.
Like the first email you got, yeah.
Who wrote this? Xenon?
Yes.
Why have I ventured back to this blog? Mitchell Wilson, remember my dad's ex-cop friend, gave me a phone call on October 23rd about a tape that was found in a bunch of the BRAMPton, in a branch of the BRAMPton.
It was found in a bunch of BRAMPton libraries, man.
Branch Bramble broke. Stroking out, buddy.
You remember my ex-cop dad's friend Bramden Will Bramson?
Bramble.
A branch of the BRAMPton Public Library. BRAMPton is my hometown.
Two Bapkins, Bramptons. Using way too many napkins.
Got too many napkins.
Why does it just sound like the angry police chief from like an action movie talking to like two loose cannon cops? It's like Bingles and Brampton Baskin. The Babston case is not going to bap itself, you bastards.
You think I don't know what you did in the branch of the BRAMPton Public Library?
Branson, send in Brampton and Brandlin.
This is BRAMPton on the case.
Play some Peter Frampton while I talk to Branson.
You think you can just Brampton while Brampton's playing on the Brampton?
Chief, there's been a murder. The crime scene is a mess. Take a look. Well, it looks like somebody got brammed in the brammer and Brampton. Then he was bramped over the bram with a bramble. Why is he the police chief? Oh, his cousin is the mayor, and Mr. Mayor, what's your plan for the city? We're gonna bram the Bramson. We're gonna flim flam the Flansons. The Flanson family?
The whole town of these people.
Mr. Mayor, let me get this straight. You're gonna flim flam the Flansons? What have they done? And if you tell them, aren't they gonna not be fooled? I don't...
We're gonna get bamboozled, the bambino, bam.
Oh, God.
Okay. Brampton is my hometown, in case you haven't picked up on that. Well, I have now, Elliot. I have now. He claims he isn't allowed to discuss the contents of the tape with me, as it is still in evidence, but he asked me to come check it out when I return home. That tape got the gears grinding again, because we all know what was on the last tapes I saw.
Wait a minute.
I can only imagine what can be on it. I'm guessing it must have... Huh?
That's not what the idiom grinding gears means.
It doesn't. It's the wheels turning is what he was looking for.
You know what's really grinding my gears? Not seeing tapes.
I gotta get tapes. Give me tapes of Mr. Bear.
We're gonna grind the gears of the Grindhouse gang.
I want pictures of Mr. Bear on my desk. Yes, Mr. B. Brandon Bramson.
The Bambino of Brampton's branch of publishing.
Oh, God.
It's so fucking easy, but it's hilarious.
I'm guessing it must have something to do with Calendonical 21. I guess I just wanted to say I am continuing this blog, and thank you for everyone who still follows it. I don't know when my next entry will be, but when I see that tape, I'll write about what I find. I don't know what to expect, but the idea of seeing another tape has gotten me really bramped in the Brampton, interested in this whole mystery all over again. Elliot.
Elliot Brampton. Update. January 21st, 2011. It has been a long year for me, even though it's January.
Before we move on, I just want to say that whole update I took could have been condensed into 2 sentences. Hey, I'm back. There's another tape for me to look at. And nothing else mattered.
Fuck you. It brought about the Brampton Library branch.
All I know is that if this were like a real blog, it basically would be updates, written very quickly and saying, hey, everybody went to the storm drain and looked, nothing in it, here's some photos. Like, if you're writing a real blog about your life, you wouldn't be updating, like, imagine Twitter. Imagine Twitter if every tweet on the site is, so as I tweeted yesterday, I was kind of like, and in my last tweet, you may have noticed that I said, like, you don't have to update with every, or you don't have to recap with every update. Anyway.
You know what didn't do this? Bridge to Vagina Island.
Mm-hmm.
Just, boom, in and out of Vagina Island.
Yeah. Everybody's happy. It has been a long year for me. University has been giving me the usual sleepless nights, especially since I transferred to Ottawa, which is the place to party. In parentheses, sarcasm. But now I'm back home with my dad in Brampton, the town I grew up in, the town I bramped up in.
Remember I grew up in Brampton?
I was born and bred in Brampton.
Bouncy baby Brampton when I grew up in Brampton.
I got home on the 18th of December and have still been visiting with friends and family. See, this is like, I have to ask who cares, because there's...
You wouldn't. Yeah.
There's lending some reality to the story with minor details, and then there's stuff where you have to ask, why do I care?
I was from Brampton.
Visiting friends and family. Or at least that's what I would rather have done. What? Now that festive holiday cheer that I usually have at this time of the month is absent. Oof.
At this time of the month? It's January 21st.
Mm-hmm.
The end of January?
I
got home.
I always celebrate the middle of January.
I got home and have been visiting with friends and family, or at least that's what I would rather have done. So you didn't do that?
I don't know.
Weird.
So I was at home visiting the family and, just saying hi to them. But you know what I would have preferred to do? Is be at home hanging out with my family, which I didn't get to do.
Am I right, fellow college students?
To answer the hundreds of emails and comments I got, yes, I did see the tapes that my dad's friend Mitchell Wilson.
Oh, wait a minute. Is that the ex-cop?
Yeah, the big wide-brimmed bailiff of Brampton branch of the.
Look, I'm no fan of big Brampton bureaucracy, but Mitchell Wilson is a stand-up fellow.
It's true.
Oh, you mean Mitchell Wilson from the Brampton Bureau?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Is this Mitchell Wilson, Elliot's dad's friend?
You mean the ex-cop? Yeah.
The ex-cop from Brampton?
You're a loose Brampton. Hand in your Bramp and your Brampton.
But what about my ass cheeks from the branding ire?
Oh, God damn it.
You have to be rebranded on your Brampton brand.
We gotta rebrand you with Brampton. The Brampton brand.
Can't. You've been demoted from Brampton to Hamptons and
I will take you all the way down to Schlampton. You'll be Flamptoning the Blampton. You'll be on a street corner selling Slampton for Grampton.
Hampton's gotta change here. These
right.
tapes, however, act as a cure. I love how you're like, all right, that's enough. You're not allowed to have any more Brandon. No more Brandon for Brandon.
No more Brampton, Brampton. Yeah. Brampton, Pamden. Also known as Dead Brampton.
New Twitter handle.
Creator of Blash Can Fiction.
Blanche. Blamp. The Marshmallow Bamble. The Brampton by Disney.
Fucking hell. Hey! Want to see my Brandle Brandon? God damn it.
They didn't want any Bramptons getting out. They didn't want any Bramptons getting in.
Fucking hell. Welcome to the Fearfic Podcast.
Creepy Brampton was a mistake.
That's true. Brandon, okay, so are we going to not have DP read anymore?
These tapes, however, act as a curse. I want to know more, yet I always want to forget everything. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times, wasn't it? I couldn't help it. I needed to see those tapes. Not only for myself, but for all of you guys who are just as intrigued as I am by the ominous man in the bear suit from my past. Oh my god, that's what the plot is.
Can I say, by the way, Mr. Bear was interesting at the beginning, but in no way is Mr. Bear worthy of all of this hype.
Nope.
Mr. Bear is from Caledon, right?
Probably. Allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be from Brampton.
Mr. Bram.
Brampton Bear.
Mr. Brampton Bear.
What's your full name? Brampton B. Bear.
What's the B stand for?
Brampton.
God fucking damn it.
If anyone's still listening to this episode.
Dude, this is the best episode we've ever done.
They've all stopped listening. They're looking at Brampty Pie's latest video, I guess. Bramp of
I don't think anyone, judging by the comments, no one thought So Liquid was as funny as we did.
Yeah, wow.
So they may not find this funny, but it's hilarious to us.
However, after viewing the tapes, I feel a pit of dread deep inside me once again. I feel that feeling where I know that all kinds of kids in those videos are dead. Yeah, you could say the same thing whenever you're like watch old black and white movies and shit.
Mm-hmm.
That I couldn't have seen that I could have been one of those kids, and humanity is a dark, dark place.
Humanity is a place.
Okay.
In the if I haven't slipped this paragraph.
If you haven't skipped this paragraph for one of the juicier details below, thank you for listening to my bramblings. God damn it.
I love how he's just admitting, like, man, you should have skipped this paragraph.
Yeah. I just wrote a bunch of bullshit, and you read it. Ha, gotcha. On January 1st, I called Mitchell Wilson, the ex-cop from Brampton, and asked if there was a time where I could come by and view the tapes. Things are pretty slow at the station because of a snowstorm, so he said I could come down any time that day. there was a snowstorm, so come drive through the snowstorm to sit at the... Okay. The tapes were located at a branch not too far from me. So I braved the slushy roads and terrible Brampton drivers, made my way to the Bramp Regional Field Police Station located at the Bromelia
the male Brampton and the female Bromelia.
When two Bramptons love each other very much.
I like the idea of terrible Brampton drivers just being people out on the road driving along, and they're all just going like Brampton out of Brampton.
Does everyone in Brampton just what's that character from King of the Hill?
Bramhauer.
I like to imagine everyone like that.
All right. I met Wilson at the front desk, where he then led me up to the second floor and into a small office. By the way, he couldn't discuss what was on the tapes because they were in evidence, but he can come see them.
Yeah.
He instructed me to have a seat and wait while he went and got the tapes. Before leaving the office, he turned to me and said, "I know you're curious, but are you sure you want to do this?" And now it's Brandon again, and we all know what we're getting.
Of course, I did. Or at least I thought so. Besides, Wilson, this Fred had pulled a lot of strings to help get me here, and I didn't want to waste this opportunity. I traveled through the Brampton blizzard to get to Bromelia.
God damn it.
This particular station had 2 tapes on hand. One I was only able to view a few minutes of footage, however, because of the second tape, it was apparently too damaged to be played in a VCR. Mr. Bear Cellar, episode 30, Mr. Bear never ceases to disturb me, especially whatever happened when I was a young child.
No shit.
This episode took place outside of a forest at dusk, making it slightly hard to see, especially considering the quality of the film, a trademark of anything from Caledon Local 21.
Jesus.
Yes, we've read up to this point. The episode starts with the camera being held by the paws of Mr. Bear, aimed at himself. Are the paws in frame? Why are you saying paws?
Maybe you could see at the corners? I don't know.
I don't know. The bear mask had looked more sinister in the shadow of the trees. The unmistakable muffled voice spoke up.
"Hello, children. Today I will be doing a wonderful thing for my friends. I will be delivering them to a faraway land where they will surely be happy."
Mr. Bear turned the camera around to show an ATV with an attached trailer, and what stood out the most was that the trailer contained 7 motionless children lying side by side.
That stood out the most, huh?
This here is the first load.
Oh.
More will be on their way soon.
Abysmii, I'm sorry to interrupt you, as I always do. We forgot, this is Alan Tutorial Guy. That's why he has this. He has that stammer. It's because
hey, everybody. Yeah. Mr. Bear turned around and pointed the camera at a large burlap tarp spread on the ground.
He picked the tarp up, revealing a large hole that must have been at least 12 feet deep and maybe about 15 feet wide. Remember those measurements from earlier in the story with the pit of dead kids? The rest of the episode consisted of Mr. Bear taking each kid and dropping them into the hole. That's just comedic. I asked Wilson if they were dead, to which he shook his head and replied, "Not yet, but they Bramwell sure were afterward." Soon all the kids...
Elliot, are you sure you want to sit down and watch this fucking snuff tape?
Yeah. I pulled a lot of strings to get you in here to watch this snuff tape, so you better like it.
I've seen people chew tobacco before. A snuff tape should be nothing. Not yet. Soon, all the kids were in the pit. Some were in awkward positions due to being tossed in, but they remained unconscious.
The vitamin C will surely help these children on the great journey that awaits them.
Mr. Bear mentioned as he panned the camera towards multiple bottles of gasoline beside a bush. It's vitamin C. The camera zoomed into the bottles as Mr. Bear hummed before the episode ended.
It's still very comedic to me that I would rather it have been Mr. Bear was constantly talking, but no one could make out what he was saying because of the mask.
Right.
Like it would have been funny, but also they would maintain a mystery and like a believable one. This guy's so deranged he doesn't realize no one can understand him.
Yeah, he's just rambling on, barely audible.
Did
barely
either
audible.
of you see the movie Sinister?
Some? Oh, no.
No, I haven't.
Fuck no.
It's like half terrible, half really good horror movie.
I've heard.
The good half is the fact that there's these, either they are on 8mm or just are made to look like they're on 8mm film. and they're basically in-universe snuff films that a horror true crime novelist is watching, and it's actual really well done creepy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if this story had just really focused on that aspect and not all this fluff around it, it would have been a lot more effective. Because it's kind of giving me, this little scene here is giving me those vibes, and I'm just thinking, this would be cool if I wasn't so already turned off by everything.
Mm-mm. I think that when this was edited to remove the plagiarism and stuff, it should have been pared down to a short story.
Yeah.
An actual short story. Like, actually short story.
Have either of you ever read Pen Pals? Man, Pen Pals is good. Wilson revealed to me that these were 7 of the 16 victims found burnt to a crisp. The gasoline is what the man playing Mr. Bear used to light them on fire.
No shit.
A pit full of burning children. Who the fuck would do that?
Mr. Bear?
Mr. Bear would do that.
Mr. Bear.
Oh my god. That feeling of dread once you realize that there's so much more to read. That feeling of dread found me once again when I realized that I could have been one of those kids.
Now, wait a minute. This is the first I'm hearing about Elliot possibly being a victim by going to the house. Oh, no, wait. It's actually mentioned in every fucking update.
I'm just going to polish this off. Wilson then explained to me that that's
the way the cookie crumbles, he said, turning off the tape.
That's the way
the bramble bush.
Wilson then explained to me that he had previously lied. The other tape confiscated by the Vermilion Police branch did indeed work and contain the filming of the actual burning. However, he felt that I wouldn't be able to handle the disturbing and graphic nature featured in the episode. And you know what? Maybe I can't. I don't even want to see it. I'm satisfied for now. And I just want some time to get myself together. The thing is, the man who ran Caldon Local 21 is still out there. More to come soon. Elliot, how do you know he's still out there?
He's in a storm drain.
These are things that the author knows that the narrator shouldn't.
So, my question is this.
Mm-hmm.
These episodes, I assumed they were being broadcast live from the cellar, but then when you get out into the woods and he's recording things, out in the woods, that would have to be something he broadcast at a later date. So, if there are multiple episodes where and this is not like a nitpick or a problem with the story, it's just me trying to figure shit out, he had to go out and film himself dragging the kids out there, putting the kids in the pit, lighting the kids on fire, but this happens in multiple episodes. He brings them out there in another episode, he, burns them in a different one that's hidden. So basically he cut them into different episodes and broadcast them at a later date, I guess. But he was asking kids to come to his house at the time.
And these episodes aired, which, no, they didn't.
Well.
Guess what? No, fuck you. No, TV did not air a fucking snuff film anywhere.
I mean, I guess it's supposed to be a pirate signal, but that would be...
Then.
You could actually track that.
Yeah.
You can track that. Dude...
And it
you would get so many in America. You would get so many fines from the FCC or whatever the Canadian equivalent is.
The Bramby.
Hey, we're gonna have to fine you for airing the footage of killing those children. Also, we've contacted someone about you killing those children.
Now I'm confused because this next portion is a letter without any context as to when he got it. Is he reading it?
We'll find out.
So I guess I'll just read this fucking letter. It starts with INRI, which in English means Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. More biblical shit.
Of course.
Once upon a time, there lived a boy named Elliot. Elliot was a clever boy who loved playing with his friends. One day, he watched a lovely television show about a bear and his children friends. The children loved helping each other, as good children should, but they also loved the bear. The bear loved the children since the children were so good at helping him and the fallen angel.
Isn't this beginning to sound exactly like Happy Appy, but boring instead of fun?
Satan's scary. The children and the bear wanted to play together forever with the help of their angel friend, but the fallen angel needed even more help, so the children had to give the ultimate sacrifice because that's what friends do, Elliot. They help each other. Help us, Elliot. Burn with us, Elliot. I want you, Elliot. He wants you, Elliot. Come back to my cellar. Pretty please with sugar and icing on top. Mr. B. Henry again.
All right, so I have to give the author some credit here, because if you look at the first line of each letter, it does spell O-T-O, which, very meaningful.
Spells
No.
out
Bramble.
O-T-O-T-T-T, B-B, thick P.
Thick P indeed.
God damn it. All right.
I like it when a girl takes a thick
Jesus Christ. I want to be able to slice it like butter. Anyway, update, April 5th.
Hit me with your soul liquid pee.
What
I wanted to be all hotel soupy.
you realize, of course, that the ultimate end result of this gamer girl pee for sale, thing going on is that eventually there's going to be a news article where it's like, gamer buys gamer girl pee, diagnoses deadly illness in time. Someone's going to be like, this looks a little odd. I think this girl should get checked for,
I want someone to buy gamer girl pee and then put gelatin in it and make gamer girl pee jello.
Gamer girl pee jello. That sounds like, I don't know what, gamer girl pee jello. Sounds like a foreign name you would see on a taxi license. I don't know. Update, April 5th, 2011. I wanted to update more. I truly did on my blog that I forget and come back to. However, certain circumstances had turned me off the whole Calden Local 21 thing. I've since then had hundreds of emails about my blog, and was even in contact with a magazine about my story.
I'm so rich and famous.
Maybe I'll write a book in a few years. But now is the time to come clean to everyone. I plagiarized oh no. Where have I been for an entire year? The story of Pandora's box is true, and I opened it. Okay.
No, it's not, because it was a myth.
I opened
Windows is a myth.
Brandora's Bram. I
We
opened
have a
it.
saying here in Brampton, don't bramp Brandora's branch. And you done brammed it, son.
Son, have you been looking in Brandora's bra? I opened it when I watched the second tape in the possession of the Bramalia Police Branch. The other subject I'd like to address is the number of joke/fake emails I've been getting from people claiming to be Mr. Bear. Jesus Christ. This happens if you write creepypasta. Let's start with the second tape, as that is what traumatized me into stopping my search temporarily. I've gotten so many emails from Funny Mouth, from Negative Mickey, from fucking everybody, telling me that they're gonna kill me, telling me that they're gonna kill other people for me. They never reply when I give them lists of names.
Yeah.
After a few weeks of playing silent, I decided to ask Mitchell Wilson.
Wait,
who's
who's
that?
that? Yeah.
Wait.
Are they introducing a new character?
He must be someone from the Bramalia branch, because he's definitely not from the Brampton branch. I decided to ask Mitchell Wilson if I could view the infamous second tape he had talked about. I don't know why. I just felt like viewing the tape would give me some closure.
What? Closure of what? I don't care.
You know what? I'm kind of traumatized from what happened, and I kind of need some closure. Can I watch that snuff tape?
Well, to the author's own admittance, it was temporary trauma. So
Snuff tape.
Mm.
Look at this snuff tape.
Every time
I
I
watch it gives me closure.
look at this snuff tape. Every time I do, my mouth's agape. Where the hell is Joey's head?
We're listening to Brickleback.
God damn it. Bricklebrap.
Wilson was obviously reluctant to show me, but I was persistent. He gave me an offer. If I was still interested by the time I turned 20, he would show me the tape.
Sexy.
Yes, nice stall tactic there.
Mm-hmm.
Not being able to do much else, I just played the waiting game. About my 20th birthday rolled around, I was definitely still interested in viewing the tape. I gave Wilson a call, during which he admitted he had hoped that I would forget about asking him, but I was not going to take no for an answer.
I just imagine him with like a actual paper calendar next to his bed. He's crossing off the days, and on his 20th birthday just says snuff tape viewing or something.
I'm old enough for snuff.
Nothing's gonna hold me back. You really don't want to see it, he kept telling me, but I really did want to see it. I had to see it at this point. Sure enough, he invited me to Bramble Branch on Monday after Broom, having watched every Saw film and a video of animal slaughterhouses in my ethics class. I was sure I would be able to handle whatever the tape could throw at me. How naive I was.
Front loading.
Front loading. Check it and see.
Take the brunt of the front loading and bear it out.
Got a fever of 16 dead kids. I'm going to take these next two. Mr. Bear's Cellar, episode 31. When Wilson went to collect the tape from evidence, the officer in charge of the evidence room shook his head at me, his face saying, "What are you doing?" Wilson explained that this tape includes the last known episode of Mr. Bear's Cellar. I rightfully assumed that I would be seeing the fate of the children and began to feel a sense of dread.
The guy at the evidence locker just like, oh shit.
Oh, this kid's fucked up.
Mr. Bear's Cellar, because he fucking knows what that is.
I was going to say, how on board are we with the police officers working at this police station all these years later, holding a single video in reverence as like the most disturbing thing ever?
Like, unless, again, you have some FOIA requests or whatever the Canadian equivalent is, I can't imagine police are just like, yeah, everyone come on down to evidence and watch our snuff film collection. Like, this doesn't happen.
Hey, everybody come on down and watch my snuff film collection one night only.
Yeehaw.
Hey, if you feel like wasting the time of your local police department, and sincerely don't do this, just ask them if you can watch the snuff tapes they got.
Yeah.
They might tell you they don't got snuff tapes, but they got snuff tapes.
Police love people pouring through all the evidence that they have to catalog and keep very carefully organized for their ongoing investigations. They love that.
That's right.
The episode opened inside a forest, the usual one from the previous episodes. This fact took me a while to realize because it was night. The trees and leaves just looked like shapes dancing around in the darkness. A faint glow of light was present on the right side of the screen. There wasn't any apparent audio. It appeared to be a windy night, yet the trees weren't making any noise. Slowly. Ooh, spooky trees.
Is this supernatural or isn't it? It's not supernatural, but we keep dipping into supernatural bullshit because it's creepy.
The audio was out. That's all they had to say. Slowly, the camera began to pan towards the glow, revealing smoke rising from a hole with the tips of flames peeking over the top. Wilson paused at this point. "Are you sure you want to see this, little BRAMPton?" he asked me. I insisted on it, even though a voice in my head was telling me not to. The video continued. The cameraman moved towards the hole, showing a pit of fire. This was the hole that I had seen.
This was the hoe?
This was that hoe. She was smoking. That I had seen in the previous episode. Only this time it was filled with shapes. I could see shapes moving around, fluttering, flailing, some motionless. I knew perfectly well what they were. The camera began to adjust to the light and burning flesh. Red, black blur of surreal movement and colors.
I thought when he said he knew what the shapes were, I was thinking parallelograms, but okay.
Trapezoids. Yeah. All that. Dodecahedrons.
Geometry. All that I see surrounding me.
Euclidean nightmare. I wish I could forget what I saw, but you can't forget a scene like this. This was not a horror movie. This was reality. Oof. Human beings were being killed in a horrifying way, a fate that I could have potentially met. Wasting my time.
The video suddenly cut to Dawn. Who the hell is she? Oh. The cameraman, or the camera, now positioned farther away from the hole. The fire was out. However, there was still smoke rising up. A figure was up ahead. I recognized it right away. The Mr. Bear suit was laid out on the ground. Empty. It looked just as unnerving. The suit was laid out, yes, in the shape of a cross. So it was T-posing to assert dominance. The cameraman did a lap around the suit, treating it like a treasured artifact. Placed at the head of the suit was a sign. In bold red letters, INRI was printed. The cameraman moved back to the end of the suit, you mean the feet, zooming into the bear's face. The episode finally ended.
But if you're like a Catholic, you basically like Mr. Bear tips Fedora.
Yeah, essentially.
That's what I'm getting out of this, or maybe it's just like, man, if I talk about like religious nut job, it's going to sound deep. But it doesn't. It's just also nothing about the description of like what was happening in the video is anything unique or defying expectations. It's like, Yeah, there were kids burning. So.
I
Guess
finally saw
what?
the second tape where the kids died, which we already knew they died. Cool.
Sick
You know-
reveal, bro.
You know what would be nice in this story? If this story was shorter, more to the point, and more story-like. This is a public access show.
Mhm.
So it would be some nice fridge horror to realize later on if the character, the narrator, said that before this show came on, previously there had been in that time slot a show where a religious guy did his, Christian or Catholic or whatever, his show, and he wanted people to call in that he could help, but there were always kids prank calling and, people making fun and things like that. Suddenly his show ended, and now there's Mr. Bear who's burning children for Jesus, It would be like fridge horror to say, oh, yeah, that's why the show ended, was because the same guy, it's just...
I want to
Oh.
continue with this thought. Let's just finish it because we got 3 paragraphs left, and then we'll pick right up there.
Looks like we have someone calling in. Who might you be?
I'm Bramble.
God damn it.
Bramble who?
Bush Brambles.
Bush.
Bramble did 9/11.
Wait, what? Bramble Stern's
Brampton
penis.
was an
Bramble
inside
Stern's
job.
penis. All right.
I was speechless, guys. It was like a dream. I finally got to see this stuff, Phil. If you can find a lot of terrible things on the internet, but you have never seen anything like this, man, it was like every creepypasta rolled into one, guys. It was really bad.
Pretty crazy.
Oh my god. Wilson asked if I was okay, and I replied with a shaky yes. Oh my god, dude. I assured him as we left that I was fine and that the video gave me some closure over the whole incident. I didn't seem too confident. He didn't seem too confident in me, but he left me at that. He was right, though. I had nightmares for weeks. I gave up. I didn't care about the whole thing anymore. A sick man burned a bunch of kids alive. We knew this from less than a fourth of the way into the story. A sick man burned a bunch of kids alive, attracting them with a fake kids TV channel. No, it was real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could have been one of the victims, and
Really?
yet here I am still. He could have been one of the victims, guys.
Really?
Oh, shit, you're right.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
he went to the house with his dad
That's true.
to meet Mitch Wilson, the ex-cop from Bramble.
I suppose I should be grateful, or grateful even, but I feel brilty. Am I only here based on beer block? 10 brunts ago.
DP has checked out.
10 brunts later.
DP,
Brack.
clap
Brunts.
twice for stroke.
No. I need to address something else.
Okay, my email has been flooded with messages. Some people ask for more details, some ask if I can upload the tapes, and some people email me claiming to be Mr.
I
Bear.
already knew all this.
First, I cannot get the tapes uploaded as they're A, in police possession as evidence, and B, I have no idea how to transfer VHS onto a computer. There are things you can buy to do that. As for people pretending to be Mr. Bear, you're not fooling me. When you have dozens of people pretending to be the same person, it doesn't work. I've seen a fake Caldon Local 21 YouTube channel.
You want to talk about not fooling me? You're not fooling me that you didn't plagiarize this.
God damn it.
Which is cute, but still not real. Even more annoying is the fact that somebody hacked my account just to put up some demented poem about me on this blog. Oh, that's what
Yeah,
it
and
is.
it has been left in. So.
And you left it in because, haha, funny?
Mhm.
I'll leave it in the entry above this one just to show you guys. Why? I would have believed you otherwise if you're getting fake email messages. It was cool, man.
You could also preempt it with, hey guys, this was edited into my post, here it is, and then the poem, but...
Well, how else would you convince people to keep reading?
Yeah.
I have contacted my webmaster about the entry and was told that it was posted on Halloween. Oh, spooky. Attached to the email paintwithb at AOL.com, which I assume is another joke email.
I'm over episode 31 now. Okay, fine. Didn't take long. The images of what I saw will stick with me for a while, so you're not over it, but I want to do one last hurrah. Hurrah for dead kids. Hurrah for Dead Kids was my very unpopular charity I started. I will get into contact with Mitchell Wilson, the ex-cop and friend of my dad, again, and hopefully get set up with the tapes in the possession of the other Peel police branches. I'll try to update you guys as soon as I can. I'm sure this won't take so long again. Thank you to everyone who still reads this, Elliot. And that's the end of the story because when he got back with us with more episodes, I would assume those were removed for plagiarism. I don't know. I don't know for sure, but I'm just... To say you're doing more and then, have that be the end, I would think there was more probably.
I could care less about the other episodes at this point. So, what's most aggravating about this isn't the writing style, isn't the choppy attempts to take out plagiarism, it's how much potential this had, and how many ways you could have more easily and better executed this idea. I really still like the idea of he's a VHS hoarder and he finds a stack of these all labeled with a sticker and Sharpie, Mr. Bear's cellar 1 through 7 or 31 or whatever, and goes through them and then tells us about it. So he's not constantly, I'm gone, now I'm back, I don't care, yes I do. There's just so many things you could do.
I think you're giving this too much credit because what you just described is pretty much a different story. At a certain point, it's just what you're saying, essentially, Abysmii, if I can put words in your mouth, is there's a bunch of jumping off points for a better story in here. And yes, there is. But the underlying thing is just take a little bit from all of these different sources, and none of it is as good as the original that it's taking from, no matter what it is,
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about the whole list of inspirations that we've gone through, and it's just a mishmash of bullshit. It's literally 90% filler. Its core is, inspired by Bear in the Big Blue House, but instead of it being a lost episode of Bear in the Big Blue House, it's Mr. Bear Cellar. Mm-hmm. Fine. But then, it's questionable whether this was taken from something else too. Because if you're going to lie about plagiarizing one thing, then, who knows, maybe
I should stress, as we once again call the author a liar about plagiarism, I should stress the reason we're saying that is because this is the official version put out by the author to clarify that this is his true version and all the other versions were edited by other people without permission, but this version still has the touches of plagiarism in it. And, with the Alan tutorial thing of Mr. Bear had a shaky voice and a stutter, and he, filmed as he ran through the woods and, came upon a bunch of garbage. And, that still is a touch of what was plagiarized later. It may not be as damning, and it may not be as bad, quote unquote, but that is still a relic of that time. That is still a relic of what was done.
It is just as bad because it's showing, the bits that have been taken out that are concrete,
right,
are couched in things that would allow that to be couched in there. Mm-hmm. So every bit of the little stuttery nonsense is inextricably linked to the actual plagiarism. So it wouldn't be there if the plagiarism, it's fuck it. It is what it is, and we've called it out. And just wait for these videos to get flagged.
Yeah.
This podcast to get flagged for the truth.
This podcast brought to you by The Red Flag, now in theaters. Who would play the Red Flag? Mark Wahlberg? I don't know.
Kevin Spacey.
God damn it.
Come on, guys, come on.
I imagine Red Flag is animated for some reason.
Ooh. Red Flag into the Flagiverse? Into the Brambleverse? We're the red flags from multiple other realities. I'm the red bramble from Bramble down. Oh, fuck. Bramble man.
Bramble.
This has been the Fear Fiction Podcast. Your hosts are Abysmii, Dead Palette, and Slimebeast. Music by Abysmii. Art by C.F. Comer. Voiceover by Atticus Jackson. Edited by Elias the Intern. Subscribe to Fearfic on YouTube to stay up to date on new episodes.
Oh boy, it's the fuzz. And I'm not talking about me.
License and registration, please.
I'm afraid I don't have any because I'm just a bear. Bears don't need things like that. We're sovereign citizens of the forestland.
Ah, well, I suppose that does make sense. But I pulled you over because of that illegal back rack, your broken tail light, your burned out bright bulb, your bent and bruised bumper, and the fact that you're carrying gasoline in an illegal fashion.
It's cheaper if you buy in bulk, Officer.
Forrest B. Burving of the BRAMPton Bureau of Burning Belongings and Backpacking. And while it may be better to buy petroleum byproducts in bulk, this method of transporting is total bunk. You're a vehicular oil spill.
I see your point, Officer Boris, but this is just the thing bears do.
What might that be?
I don't answer questions.
Oh, that's how it's gonna be, you Boris Brown Bear.
Don't you think that's a little bit racist? Would you mention the color of a polar bear?
Bow bissin', you bum bear. Black bear, brown bear, polar bear. It doesn't matter. Keep talking wise and I'll have you slamming, gramming, hamming, and bramming camping. Vamping down your rampants.
Calm down, officer.
Wait a second. What kind of bear isn't concerned with the environment? Dropping and sloshing oil everywhere. I'm starting to think you're not a bear at all, just a man in a bear suit.
You caught me, officer. Let me grab my proper information now. I've got it right here in my glove box.
Now that's more like it. Is that a bloody bobbing body? Blood, blame it. My bronchial tubes blinking blood.
Well, when you're a bear all alone, they'll call you an animal. But I've got good news, all cops are flammable.
Okay, so roundabout the end of last year, Jimmy Urine of Mindless Self-Indulgence released a album called Uringer, which can be found at mindlessselfindulgence.bandcamp.com. And it's got some pretty interesting stuff on it. I like Mindless Self-Indulgence. I don't know about you guys, but
I'll occasionally indulge.
Yeah. The thing is, though, this album, Jimmy Urine, God love him, sort of like a punk, rock kind of guy. I don't know how to really describe him. That's why I'm, going for this thing. But, very much that I don't give a shit. I don't care about the fans. Fuck you, everybody. Fuck the audience. That type of thing. And also, fuck myself. I'm a piece of shit. That type of style, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, from like the 90s forward, I would guess. So, Jimmy's kind of an older man now. Jimmy Urine has the Uringer album out, and one of the songs is called Trigger Warning.
Mm-hmm.
Because this album's like gonna trigger you millennial snowflakes. I mean, it's like about 2 or 3 years late for that, but another song called Problematic. Basically, I love Jimmy, I love Mindless Self-Indulgence, but I also love this album on an ironic level as well, because it's so much like, hey fellow kids, I'm still a badass,
Hello, fellow internet shit posters.
Yes, exactly. I'm just picturing a guy named Jimmy Urine, a 90s icon for, like, hedonistic disregard for everything, sitting down and looking at the internet and looking at things now and going, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a song and I'm going to call it Trigger Warning. Oh, and Problematic, yeah. Those are some hot takes. Those are some hot new
at
terms.
the time of composition, it very well may have been timely.
Yeah,
it just takes a long time to make albums if you're like being really meticulous about it. So
Well, one of the songs. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say exactly what Abysmii was. Just like maybe, I mean, that's very possible.
Maybe, but one of the later songs on the album is titled "I Wrote All of These in 2019." So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was just him being prophetic, because I thought he was going to, get assassinated.
Oh.
And he just wanted to screw with people in the album.
I see.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just like that Whitest Kid You Know sketch. The people who run our label are homos. It's like that was in the contract. They said that's the one thing they wouldn't budge on. The album must be titled that.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that, though. I do wonder how much irony is being employed by one Mr. Urine.
I don't
imagine
know.
a lot.
Who knows?
For everyone at the Fear Fiction Podcast, thank you for supporting us through 50 episodes. That's right, this was episode 50. Hard to believe we've been doing this for this long. Thanks to all 400 some odd subscribers on YouTube and everyone who's produced an original story we've critiqued and analyzed on the show. Also, good news! We're now available on iTunes, Stitcher, and have an RSS feed like a normal podcast. No rabbit ears required. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, only bears can cause forest fires. Now this truck is going into a building where they have all of the